Funding and financing for real estate deals. Have the money dried up? Is there any money to do any deals, to invest in real estate, to expand your portfolio? Well, today on the Never Lose a Deal podcast, that is what I'm going to be discussing today. Is there or are there a shortage when it comes to funding and finance? Welcome to today's show. My name is Lorillia Brown-Phillips, and as I mentioned today, I am going to be talking about funding and financing when it comes to real estate deals, primarily in the investor space. If you are new to me, understand this show is about giving wealth building strategies to leverage funding and financing and creative ways to do deals to expand your portfolio. So that is what we're talking about today. So, the reason why I wanted to have this topic, discuss this topic, is because some of the things that I have recently witnessed myself personally, offline, as well as some of the conversations that individuals are having online. And so, my question is, has the funding and financing dried up? Many investors want to know, people who are involved in real estate, who may be new to real estate, or seasoned investors. Well, let me say this: I do truly believe that seasoned investors, which is primarily who this show is targeted for, know that funding and financing has not dried up, and that is why it is so important. Why today's topic, you want to tune in and listen closely, because it really does matter who you are listening to and what you are listening to, when it comes to getting financing or any type of funding for your real estate deals. Give you a real life example. So, on another platform, I was given some content on the topic of DSCR loans, and someone, I assume, who's in the lending space based on their profile name, corrected me when it came to credit scores. And this is what I always tell potential clients or prospects, that when it comes to the investing space, and I did do a reply to that comment, when it comes to the investing space for financing, mortgage financing, DSCR, fix and flip, fix to rent, construction loans, there are no absolutes. It is not like FHA. So the reason why I said, has the financing or is the financing dried up, or is it even available, because it really depends on who you're listening to. It is a waste of energy for another mortgage professional to correct another mortgage professional on the guidelines that are required to get into a loan. The reason why I say it's a waste of time, because every lender is different. If you are an experienced mortgage professional in the space of providing financing to investors, as I mentioned, DSCR, fix and flip, fix to rent, construction, you know that there's no absolutes. At least you should, if you have any experience, because every lender is going to have different requirements. And so, when I say, has the financing dried up, it depends on who you're listening to. What I find is that, and this is not from experienced professionals, but what I find for, I want to say, they're not quite newbies, but they're in that in between stage, meaning they could have been a wholesaler, or they may have even bought and bought properties as buy and hold, and they were using an FHA strategy. And I'm no FHA specialist. Um, so that's why I said they could be in that in between stage, meaning they're not brand new to real estate, meaning they're just bright eyed and bushy tailed. They have some experience. They've did something, but now they want to venture on to other pastures to be able to expand their portfolio. And that may look like doing a fix or flip. That may look like buying a multifamily. And now they want to look at financing that is not what they're used to, which is in the FHA space. They may have did some house hacking and they've leveraged FHA or any type of financing, conventional VA or what have you. That's not this world. That's not the world of investor financing. And so when I say that's not this world, meaning you can't go online and look for guidelines. I think I shared this in another podcast episode where I said that locally here I was talking to an investor and the investor expressed, why is it that every time I talk to a lender when it comes to DSCR, the you know that what they require is different. And I share with the person is because there are no absolutes. Every lender has their own way of how they are underwriting loans, because many, investor loans, DSCR loans, or what have you, they're not housed at a big bank. So, and a lot of times, since they're not housed at a big bank, they're not under any government financing. Many of these loans are backed by hedge funds or private lenders or what have you. Balance sheet money, meaning that it's in-house money. It's not backed by a big bank. It's not backed by Fannie Mae or any of the government subsidies that back many mortgage back loans that many people are familiar with the FHA and the VA and a conventional. What that means is you can't go online looking for guidelines. You can get a gauge, and that's why, there have been videos where I've said, when it comes to do DSCR, for example, the DSCR ratio, it can be different for every lender. Some lenders I work with go as low as 0.75. Now, based on their underwriting models, and of course, they have people. I mean, these are billion-dollar companies that are backing these loans. They have the financial analysis tools and people to be able to gauge why it makes sense for them to invest in them loans. Hey, I'm not here to tell them it doesn't work. It clearly seems to be a business model, which is why many of them are billion-dollar enterprises. And some go as high as 1.75. So with that being said, there's no one side fits all when it comes to financing in this space. And that's what a lot of investors need to understand. The seasoned ones, kind of get it, and even if they don't, when you explain it to them, it's like, oh, okay, yes, yes, yes. But that in between investor, the one that I mentioned, whereas they're not bushy tailed and wide eyed, brand new, they have did some things in real estate, but now they're venturing into other areas that they're not really too familiar with, and so the financing piece, they may not be, aware of. Another thing that I'm witnessing a lot of is that I get a lot of people who come to me and they tell me about, their real estate coach has told them about ways that they can finance their deals. Now, I'm not here. I think coaching is great. I invest in coaching. There are, clients that I have who decide to work with me on a more closer and one-on-one basis. So, there's a component of coaching and consulting there. But the problem that I have, and if you find yourself in this position, I'm going to share with you the gray area of why you're stuck. So you have these coaches or professionals who are working with investors, and they're telling them about a particular way that they can, get financing to do the deal. And of course, my question always is, well, if they're your coach and they're there to help you, why can't they give you the source to be able to continue to do the deal. Because what happens is it leads you on a scavenger hunt. So you have the investor who is given this great, idea in financing a strategy that they can use, and they don't know where to go. And I've told, many investors, and I'm saying here on this podcast, so many people will know why it's a missing link, because most people are left in the open loop. Is because many times the reason why they can't tell you is because they don't underwrite loans. If they're not doing the underwriting, and I'm not even going as far as the underwrite, they're not even processing loans. So if they're not processing loans, they can't really give you the right guidance on what is next. That is what I find is the missing piece. Because as I mentioned to you in other podcast episodes, anyone can, read a few things online, listen to a few podcasts, regurgitate information, and make themselves sound really smart. Now, this is not to throw any shade to those who may have coaches or consultants who are working with them, but if you find yourself in that pickle, meaning that you've been given a financing strategy or a real estate strategy for you to be able to acquire and move on to be able to get that asset, but you're left in an open loop of, okay, well, I don't know who to go to. A lot of times it's either one or two things. One, every lender is different, and either they don't know that, it may have not even been explained to them. So what happens is that they may have a relationship with a lender that they worked with, but they kind of know that that particular lender is not going to get creative enough to help their student do the deal that they want. So they'll just tell their student, hey, this is out there in the marketplace, but it's up to you to go find it. And it leaves the student in a pickle, because now all they know is that, hey, I was told this exists, but I don't know who to go to. And that leads me to, as I said before, every mortgage professional in this space is different. So listening to a FHA guy or gal who knows that's their wheelhouse. Do they have relationships with possibly someone who does fix and flip, DSCR? But that doesn't mean that's all across the board. But a lot of times it's presented that way. So what happens is that a person who don't know any better is like, oh, well, I'm listening to this person, and and they're telling me that this is the way, but it's not the only way. And so in this particular market, as I, sum this podcast episode to a close, there's no shortages of funding and financing, but let me tell you what it is a shortage of. It's a shortage of people who can assist you and help you execute for you to move forward with expanding your portfolio. Right now, we have a lot of talking heads, but we don't have enough people to execute. And that is why I am one of those people. I'm one of those individuals who can help that investor execute what it is that they're looking to do, if those are some of the things that they want to do in terms of building a portfolio to get multifamilies, and they want to use some creative financing like maybe DSCR or what have you. As I mentioned to you in other videos, the funding framework that I use is not just one thing. It's not a one trick pony. And I think that is the missing thing, is that you have a lot of people out here who are sharing all these great funding and financing techniques, but what is missing is that how is it implemented? And that is what I want to sum this podcast episode with. There are no shortages. There's 100 ways to skin a cat, but just know that when it comes to investor loans, business funding, business credit, it is all different. And especially it is different when you want to pair all those things together because many lenders, how they underwrite loans to be for you to be able to leverage business funding and business credit is going to be different for every lender. And you, Mr. or Mrs. Investor, need to know that because what happens is that you will get sucked into the the world of um how should I say it? Lenders aren't doing deals. Those deals can't be done due to market conditions. And I'm here to tell you that is not the case. Those deals can still be done. Yes, I'm a big proponent, still helping investors leverage business funding, leverage business credit, pairing it with some type of creative financing in the investor space when it comes to the things that I just mentioned to you today, DSCR, fix and flip, construction loans, but it has to be put together by a lender that understands what it is that you're trying to do. And that is the missing piece in the marketplace. So once again, this is Lorillia. As I mentioned to you, if something on this podcast has interest you, you want to learn more about how you can expand your portfolio, you want to have a conversation on a loan scenario that you would like to go deeper on and how you can build that out, being able to leverage business credit or business funding, pairing it with some type of creative financing like DSCR, fix and flip, construction loans, or what have you, let's have a conversation. You can go to www.neverloseadeal.com. As always, this show is being sponsored by Leverage Portfolio Capital, your lender who can assist you with the things that I mentioned to you today: DSCR, fix and flip, construction loans, or what have you. So once again, go to www.neverloseadealpodcast.com. Until the next podcast, I'll see you then. Bye bye.